what a night. Oh gosh, what a night. I feel good when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, cause your perfume isn't loud, and only I can talk about. Feel good, feel good.
Sakpase, beautiful people. Thank you for tuning in to WDRB Media. You're listening to Gold Diggin with Dagmar, and I'm your host and the sponsor of today's show, Dagmar Demore, your Carolina's agent. Unlock your dream home with me today, award-winning realtor and author of A Complete Guide to Buying a Home. Get the best buying, selling, and investment advice to find your dream property. Call 704-750-0088 or visit yourcarolinasagent.com. That's yourcarolinasagent.com, unlocking the home of your dreams. Financial literacy is the ability to make informed judgments and to make effective decisions regarding the use and management of money. Cameo Crumby is here with us to discuss financial literacy. Cameo hails from Akron, Ohio, and currently resides in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's graduated from several institutions with 4 degrees. Cameo presently works as a franchise consultant and owns several Airbnb rentals. Cameo received the 2016 Mentor of the Year award and is a mentor with the 100 Black Men of Charlotte. Cameo's goal is to improve the level of financial knowledge in his community. Cameo, I'm excited to have you on Gold Diggin with Dagmar.
Thank you for having me.
Great. American author Orison Marden wrote, "One penny may seem to you a very insignificant thing, but it is a small seed from which fortunes spring." When we return, we will dive into our discussion on financial literacy with Cameo Crumby. Welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, and those streaming live through free TuneIn Radio app and through iHeartRadio. You're listening to Gold Diggin with Dagmar, and I'm your host, Dagmar Demore. You can connect with me on Facebook as Dagmar Demore Realtor, on Instagram at Your Carolina's Agent, and on the web at yourcarolinasagent.com. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing financial literacy with Cameo Crumby. Financial literacy is defined as the possession of the set of skills and the knowledge that allows an individual to make informed and effective decisions with all of their financial resources. Cameo, as a successful entrepreneur, what does financial literacy mean to you?
Financial literacy is not just knowing how to make money, but how to manage your money, how to keep money, and how to put your money to work. Right? So a lot of people, they know how to do that first part, but what they do with that money once they get it, that's the financial literacy part.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And just like any skill set, financial literacy has to be defined and refined through knowledge and education. Can you share some of the strategies that you employ and to strengthen your financial literacy?
Absolutely. So I read a lot. So one of the books that I highly recommend is Think and Grow Rich. The first book that I read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Those are like some classics right there. Mm-hmm. But Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a good one for like younger people to really get an understanding of how money works. But just talking about it more in your household. Mm-hmm. A lot of people look at money like it's taboo. You don't want to talk about it. So if you don't talk about it at home at an early age, it's hard to understand it because they don't teach it in school.
Okay. Is this something that you grew up talking about with your family?
No, not at all.
Okay. So how did you come across this journey? How did you go on this journey?
I kind of always just learned from other people's mistakes. My mom always had a quote as far as fake it till you make it. And she always lived outside of her means. Mm-hmm. And I remember she used to budget. She was safe, but she was still, when you come from nothing, you always want to feel like you want something. So it's to show that you accomplished something. I don't know what it is, what the mentality she had, and a lot of poor people or people that came from nothing. But I remember her just having a little notebook, writing down all her bills, as pension pennies and things like that. So she bought a house in 2008 when they was writing all those bad loans.
Yes.
And she was making like maybe $12 an hour.
Oh, wow.
Then got a really nice house for $12 an hour. And I'm like, she shouldn't have had. So she's one of those people why the reason we went into that recession, right? Because of something like that. But she was making $12 an hour and just like stressed out every month trying to make these bills work and things like that. She had a sports car. And I'm like, Ma, I know you want nice stuff. It's good to want nice stuff, but it was stressing her out to the point where she ended up having a stroke.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was like 10 years ago, right? So I was like, I don't want to live beyond my means, right? I learned from her, but I also just seen a lot of other people just living paycheck to paycheck. And I learned at an early age. My first job was at White Castle. I'm from Ohio, so White Castle. And I made $6 an hour at the time. So I thought I was doing good because that was above minimum wage at that time, right? And when I got paid, a week later, I'm running out of money. And I'm like, so I just got to sit here and wait for that next check 2 weeks from now. So I had another job. I had an apprenticeship. And I used to go to work for the apprenticeship. It was construction in the morning, then go to school, and then go to football practice right after that. That was my day. So from 7 to 12, I worked. From 12 to 4, I went to school. And from 4 to 6, I did football practice. At 16, right? The apprenticeship was paying $16 an hour. And then I worked at White Castle on the weekends, making $6 an hour, right? So I had money coming in. This is 16
That's
years
beautiful,
old,
yeah.
right? So I was like, I can't imagine just sitting around waiting for one paycheck every 2 weeks, right? I need multiple sources of income coming in. I learned that at an early age, and it helped me take some of the pressure off my mom. You know, she ain't have to worry about buying me school clothes anymore. I bought my own car, my first car, things like that. So I was like, I got it early, you know? So, and then when I got it, I wasn't out buying jewelry and a bunch of stupid stuff. You know, I was putting my money to the side. So
I'm glad that you used that experience, you know, to set yourself up for financial security. And in turn, you are giving back to the community. So when we come back from this quick break, we'll talk about the work that you do with 100 Black Men of Charlotte. Welcome back. You're listening to Gold Diggin with Dagmar, and I'm your host, Dagmar Dumore, your Carolina's agent, unlocking the home of your dreams. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing financial literacy with Cameo Crumby. So one of the things we talk about on Gold Diggin with Dagmar is breaking generational curses. Along with the parents, I believe that it should be the duty of the entire community. And you teach financial literacy to the movement of youth. Why was that important for you to do?
It's important because I want to reach these kids at a young age, because I learned early on my own at a young age, and I wish I had something like the 100 Black Men and mentors to come in and teach me about it. I probably would be a lot further along than where I am right now. But I try to talk to like friends and family my age and older about financial literacy and how to save and manage their money. But at that point, they're kind of already set in their way. So it's harder to get them to change their mindset on certain things. But when you get the kids at an early age, it's easier to instill that knowledge into them. So that's why I try to reach them.
That's great. How impactful do you think that knowledge will be for them in the future?
Well, we'll see. We will see. But I think that, I mean, my nephew, he is 20 years old right now. So I was installing that information into him at a young age. So he's doing a very good job right now. He already knows. I tell him it's not about how much you make. It's how much you keep, right? Don't be fooled by a lot of these people with the nice cars, jewelry, and houses and stuff like that, because most of these people are living paycheck to paycheck, are in debt. You know, you can make $100,000 a year, but if you're $120,000 in debt, are you really doing well? You know, so just live below your means, and you don't have to have all of this nice stuff to impress a bunch of people that don't even care about you. You know.
So in talking to them, and you know, I'm familiar with the program because my son has been in it for several years. what do you think are some common misconceptions about financial literacy and just financial stability and building wealth that you come across in talking to these young boys?
They think that the only way to be financially stable or successful is to play a sport or do something illegal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there are so many ways to make money, not be an influencer. Now that's their thing.
Oh, yeah. Social media.
Be an influencer or something. But there are so many ways to make money. And I don't know. It's just like the things that they see on TV and on social media, they got to take that with a grain of salt and really understand how to get this money, how to make this money, and how to make the money work for you.
Okay, that's great. So how do you support, the diverse backgrounds and financial circumstances that you come across in some of these youth? So some may come from families where they're able to see the wealth, or they're able to see that there's some wiggle room in their finances, but then there are some kids that just come from abject poverty. So how do you address that?
Well, I say that all of them, no matter what background, they should talk about it, right? Like I mentioned before, a lot of people feel like it's taboo to talk about it, like at the dinner table. The wealthy families and the poor families, or not necessarily poor, those without as much, because for the wealthy families, if they're doing well with their money, they can teach their kid how to do that as well. For the ones that doesn't have and living paycheck to paycheck, they can talk to their kids about how they're living paycheck to paycheck, and how they need to break that generational curse and do better and save better, because people know what to do. They just don't do it. So, the saying, if you do better, you'll do better. I think there's a lot of people that know what to do. It's just that mentality and that discipline of actually doing it.
Yes.
I really feel like, there's some people that legit don't know what to do, but I think a lot of people know what to do. And I will break it down to, let me see your schedule. You got 8 hours a day. You sleep for 8. You work for 8. What are you doing with those other 8 hours? There's no reason you should be broke. If you're sitting around watching Netflix and binging and you broke, that's the problem right there. Like, I've always had more than one job. Even when I went to school for a time, I still had multiple streams of income.
Okay.
Like, you can Uber now. You could do DoorDash. There's so many ways. There's no excuse. There's excuses, but
yes,
it better be good.
Yes. And I like that. I think, and social media plays a big part of it. I think that our community, we're having more conversations, and definitely the younger generation is, I'm significantly older than you, I believe.
I don't think so.
My generation
you
was
got
not
a junior and a freshman. I don't think you.
I have a 27-year-old too.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. But I know my generation, we weren't talking about it.
Right.
We've been talking about it. And even when I talk to some of my friends now, and I'm like, money is the easiest thing you can get. And they're like, no, it's not. I was like, yeah, your financial circumstance is one of the easiest things that you can control.
Right.
It comes with hard work, but you can go from 0 to 6 figures in a matter of years of discipline and knowledge. So I appreciate that you are speaking life into these young boys and you're serving the community, because I really do believe at this point we are breaking a lot of these generational curses that we have in our community. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we will talk about your entrepreneurial endeavors. Welcome back. We're wrapping up our discussion on financial literacy with Cameo Crumby. Can you please tell us about your work as a franchise consultant?
Absolutely. So I started this franchise consultant business in January of 2020, not knowing what's coming up, but it actually played out pretty well. So I got into the franchise world as a business consultant at Subway. So I was a franchise consultant with Subway, and a lot of the franchisees that I spoke with were just trying to diversify, not having all of their money come from one business. Okay. So that kind of made me think about the franchise consulting business. So I represent over 500 different franchises. So if people are interested in finding a franchise to invest in, they'll come to me. It's kind of like a real estate agent in franchising.
Okay.
Right? You wouldn't buy a house without an agent. I don't recommend you buy a franchise without a broker, because I'll dive deep in and make sure that it's a good investment. So my job is to help you find a perfect franchise. Started that business in 2020, which was great because a lot of people were worried about the pandemic.
Yes.
And they were looking for something that was, people were getting laid off, things like that, or fired, whatever you want to call it, because of the pandemic. And people were looking for something that was pandemic proof, recession proof, Amazon proof. Like, that's a thing now.
Yes,
for real, because
it is.
Amazon will put you out of business. So I was there to help people invest in those different types of businesses. I enjoy it. That business helps me buy my real estate.
Okay.
So during that same time, I bought a house and I turned it into an Airbnb. And I just didn't want a standard rental because I didn't want to have to worry about evicting people. Because during the pandemic, people wasn't paying their rent.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like, nah. I know it's a hard time, but I need to pay my mortgage.
Absolutely.
It's a trickle down. So Airbnb, they in my house for 3 or 4 days and they go. I don't have to worry about evicting them or anything like that. And I was getting paid a lot more. And that money increased because people didn't want the high traffic of hotels.
Yes.
So they were doing more Airbnbs because you don't have to worry about contacting and interacting with people. So that took off. And the more money I made from there, I kept buying houses and it kept going. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So going back to franchising, so if someone was looking to purchase a franchise, roughly how much money would they have? Do you work with people with varying budgets?
Yeah, I mean, there's franchises you can invest in starting off at $8,000.
Really?
Yeah, all the way up into $1 million. So it just depends on what you want to do, what industry you want to go into, how much you want to work, how many employees you want to manage, things like that.
Okay, and as a consultant, you help them with all of that. Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, that's great. So how would someone get in touch with you?
They can call me or they can go to my website. That might be better. That way you can look at some of the franchises that I represent. It's just MrFranchiseGuy.com on social media, Instagram, all of that. Mr. Franchise Guy. That's the easy way to find
That
me.
is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much again for taking the time to be here on Gold Digging with Dagmar. I again thank you for speaking life into our young men and serving as a mentor to them. My son highly recommended you, and I don't even remember what year he heard you speak, but he was just like, you really have to interview him, Mom. You have to do a show on financial literacy. So I'm glad that you made this time to come out.
Absolutely.
There's always something new to learn, whether you're just starting or trying to improve your financial knowledge. You can take charge of your money and safeguard your financial future with the appropriate information and some work. I leave you with these words from Robert Kiyosaki to start your week. It's not how much money you make, but how much money you keep, how hard it works for you, and how many generations you keep it for. I'm grateful to everyone that tuned in, both locally and beyond. Don't hesitate to contact me if you need help finding a realtor in your listening area. Get the best buying, selling, and real estate investment advice. Visit yourcarolinasagent.com. Continue to tune in every Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Please remember to connect with me by going to golddiggingradio.com. Follow me on the socials at Gold Diggin Radio, including YouTube. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to be a guest on the show or want to learn more about advertising and sponsorship opportunities, email media@golddiggingradio.com. Shout outs to Visual Vibes Media for producing the audio and video for the show. You've been listening to Gold Digging with Dagmar, and I'm your host, Dagmar Demore, your Carolina's agent, unlocking the home of your dreams on WDRB Media, the voice of the community, for double the information and inspiration. Until we speak next week.
Oh gosh, what a night. I feel good when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good.